Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kubernetes Steering Committee meeting. A quick reminder, this meeting is under the CNCF Code of Conduct. In short, be excellent to each other. This meeting will be recorded as we just started and later uploaded to YouTube for public viewing. The agenda doc and other details are also shared in the steering-committee Slack channel and the Kubernetes Slack. If you haven't joined that, slack.kates.io has an inviter set up. Okay. Um, doesn't look like we have any particular topics this time. Am I missing something?
Nope, I'm not seeing anything in the doc or anywhere else. So, but we have two community members, Victor and Danush, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Do you folks have any particular topics or questions that you wanted to run by this group?
Yeah, I already brought up that particular question. There's uh, at least interest in, I think, in the Kubernetes communities to run Kubernetes on new ISAs such as RIS5. I know I've been told already, reach out to architecture and release teams. Maybe I just brought up here. What do you see as the roadblock for that to happen?
Uh,
Um,
Steven, you start, I'll follow.
so for context, there are a few folks on the call of interest, perhaps. Ben, myself, and Sasha. So Sasha and myself are co-chairs for SIG Release. Ben is one of the chairs for Kate's Infra. And Ben, are you also still spending time in testing?
Yeah, I'm a tech lead for testing and infra currently.
Okay, so there is a yeah there are a few SIGs that have interest in when people are interested in introducing new architectures. I think one of the hardest problems to solve is the aspect of support for the architecture. We have several architectures that we've supported in the past and varying levels of support for each of those architectures. So it's actually been a recent discussion around support for S390X and PVC 64LE. I believe that this is, Ben, thanks for sharing the platforms guide. There are a few things that we would want to check out, ensuring uh, appropriate testing support for those architectures. But I think over time, what we've noticed is the biggest thing that it comes down to is actually having infrastructure support and resources, both from, I think both from the infrastructure and personnel perspective, to maintain the architecture long term. Ben, do you want to jump in?
Yeah. So we have this platform guide now that has some idea of what we're looking for. One of the things I'll add is that we really want to be only shipping things by default going forward. I think if they're covered by CI, and we've recently made a huge push to make sure that all the CI is actually like running within the project, and that if any particular person disappears on us, we're not left with, boy, I don't know how any of that was set up and who has access to this, and wait, is, Google or Microsoft or Amazon or someone still paying for this, and do they still have someone that has access, and do we even know what this stuff is doing? So we have some requirements that if we're going to run things as part of the community CI, that we have resources that have a formal commitment to the project through the CNCF, so that folks at the CNCF have access, the infra leads have access, and then we can delegate access to community members to set up what we need and make sure that we have good, robust automation to keep it working and to make sure that we actually have coverage for these. Um, in the past, we've been a little bit more lax with this, and I think kind of between, infrastructure, testing, and importantly, primarily release, we've kind of had some conversations about. I think the project doesn't have much appetite for going back to a place where we're supporting things that, um, you know, don't have enough participation and don't have the test coverage to verify that they're really functional. So it's kind of both. we'll have to sort out the infrastructure part because we don't have easy access to that right now with any of the vendors we have now. We might be able to, I'm not sure, we might be able to get something through Equinix. The commitment there is a little odd. It's not specific to Kubernetes, unlike most of the rest of ours, and we lack personnel there. And in general, we've been stretched pretty thin on the infrastructure side recently, and I think also the release side.
Yeah, a little bit of both.
That might give you some idea of a starting point, but I think people are going to want to see that there isn't just interest to introduce it, because we've had people come and participate in the past and kind of just, okay, it builds, congrats. But the other thing that I think would be really nice to see is specifically user interest. We've had a lot of participation from kind of uh, folks that are vested in the ISA itself, but not necessarily actually running clusters. And that, doesn't really make sense for our time. Like, you could always build an available build and provide it for people on your own. But if there's a lot of user demand for this, then it makes sense for the project to do it. Because even if we get people to come help out with this platform and to provide the resources we need to test it, it still costs more time and energy from everyone else to keep it functional. Versus, if there isn't a lot of demand, then we might consider going a route where, we can provide some guidance for how to ship your own conformant distribution to the like handful of interested parties. If there's so, I think that was one thing that we hadn't mentioned so far was with some of the previous architectures that we've struggled with, we kind of asked to send some evidence of user demand our way, so we know that it's a good trade-off for the project to invest in this for upstream.
I would say there already demand and potentially huge demand. The reason I'm bringing it up here, there right now in the RISC-V community, there is a thing called certification process. Unlike the other ISAs, RISC-V is more open sourced, right? So there's a lot of freedom, which give rise to a lot of opportunity for innovation. And cost saving as well. However, there is problem because there's so many extension profile and all that. So getting all of them to work together with Kubernetes is a task to be to be completed. So that's why the certification process is the goal is to make it more uniformly standard, no matter where that RISC-V process come from. The goal is eventually, it will be easier for users to adopt it. So that's why, I think there's a huge demand for that. But how to make the two community work together is the question.
Right, but
So
again, we're not
Victor,
looking for. Oh, sorry.
yeah, Victor, let me just ask a quick question. Are you an interested party, or are you someone who has the capability of providing resources towards the effort
I'm an
as well?
interested part of it. I'm independent.
Okay, cool. So just as a point of order, I think we can, given where our agenda is at, we can probably continue the discussion a little bit. But just as a point of order, I want to note that for the steering committee is responsible for delegating responsibilities out to the rest of the community. And the main bodies that we do that with are called special interest groups. So the special interest groups that we kind of noted earlier, SIG release and SIG architecture are the best special interest groups to have this discussion in. I can provide resources on when those meetings are, so you can check them out. But these steering committee meetings are usually not technical discussions. That's all.
I can follow up in those meetings.
Cool, and I'll drop some notes in a second.
Yeah. That said, we have all recently participated in more or less this conversation in the group, so I think we can provide plenty of pointers. Yeah, I think if you want to come prepared to those meetings, that again, the one thing that I would say is to aside from where we might get resources, is to have a little bit more evidence of the interest. I'm sure there's lots of interest in the platform generally, but like Kubernetes isn't in the business of picking winners with platforms, runtimes, that sort of thing. So, we're not necessarily looking to invest in like making a platform happen. If there are a lot of users that want to use it today and will come provide the help, then I think that you'll get traction. If there's kind of some vague sense of like, well, risk V is interesting, the project is stretched pretty thin, and I would guess that if you go to those other meetings, that alone isn't really going to get a lot of traction. But if so, you might like before you go there, kind of collect a little more on that sort of thing.
And understood.
I just want to give an example of the expectation. If you put anything on the release, you are signing off to be accountable. This means that, for example, today to tomorrow is code freeze. If we have this new architecture and we depend on this architecture for the release, we expect somebody to stay alert if something happens to fix that problem. Because otherwise all the project is blocked. So I think that it's important for all the people requesting new architecture, new features, or everything to understand what are the implications of this.
Got it. Thanks.
Danush, did you have another thing before? Like, I wanted to check if we had anything else on the agenda today. Aside from Steven's point that like we're not a technical body and we can't actually make decisions here, just provide some pointers to the right groups, which you'll probably see some of the same folks in.
Yeah, there are lots of technical people on this call, but our charter, at least as a committee, is not to make technical decisions. That's all.
If no one else has agenda topics, I'll just point out that we do still have some like outstanding items to circle back on. I've had one or two more conversations with CNCF folks about the TOC voting thing and the super fun coordinating all of that. I think that the plan remains, unless we have any new objections, that we need to roll out requesting all of the leads in the community document their email formally so we can collect the list accurately and start syncing it over to CNCF at least manually to start. But we don't actually have that list right now. That's the biggest blocker. There was also some suggestion to wait a minute because we knew that some folks would be stepping down, but that happened. So we have, I think, a moment where there's no there's no pending leadership changes in the project. I think we seem to have consensus on this. So I'm planning to throw up a PR today to just kind of like add the field to community and start the like outreach to like chairs and tech leads to ask people to start filling this in. I want to take advantage of some opportunities like the contributor summit next week to like signal boost. Hey, we need y'all to provide that info so we can get you added to voting with the CNCF. I think Stephen, we also still have the code of conduct elections.
Yeah, I had a chat with Xander about it, and Xander mentioned that we can push for a February election. I have an open branch on my goal to propose an election timeline, and I'll push that up later today. I'm thinking mid-February, just to one, it'll be a quarter plus some change. I was initially thinking beginning of February, but middle of February might be a little bit better, only because some people may be traveling through FOSDEM and FOSDEM fringe events early February. And then I'll have to check in with folks who are familiar with Electo, because it looks like we did the elections via Electo last time.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep.
I guess he can like formally vote when you have a PR open, but
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think there are a few copy edits and process wise that I to nudge up, but I'll put something provisional up to that.
okay. Well, same thing. I don't know how much I'm getting done today, but I'm gonna at least try to throw up the PR to like updates community for this, and when we merge that, just post a really simple like link to it in like chairs and tech leads. We don't even need to put the whole project on blast. We really just need to poke the chair and tech lead folks and ask them to fill that in, and then we'll figure out from there.
Okay. Cool.
Well, might need to put a little bit more in notes. Oh, thank you. Otherwise, I think we're probably at the end of the agenda here.
Yeah, I think both sent us a remaining item, and if it is just looking at the dates.
December 4. I was already
December
looking at the
4.
dates.
Okay,
It's
cool. I can take it for December. So,
sounds
Okay.
good.
cool.
I have a question. Are
Remaining
folks going to
correctly?
be at KubeCon next week?
I will be there.
I'll be there as well.
I'll be there.
I won't, unfortunately.
Okay.
Oh,
So-
I won't.
Okay. So do we have 3 for the AMA?
No, I'll be there.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Me too.
Okay.
So we have
5.
5.
Yeah.
5 for the AMA.
Okay. Well, I hope I can catch a little time with you all face to face just to like be reminded that you all are humans on the other side of the screen.
Yeah, let's maybe we
Yeah,
can
like-
plan a lunch or a dinner.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, thanks for coming all. And yeah, try to have a good rest of your day.
See ya.
See ya, bye.
Later, y'all.